Hey guys, today we are discussing about FIFA World Cup 2026. Every 4 years, the entire planet stops. I mean that literally. Schools close early. Businesses shut their doors. People who have never watched a single football match in their life are suddenly glued to a screen at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday, yelling at the television. It is the most watched sporting event in human history. And this summer, for the first time ever, it's happening right here, in the United States. So if you've been hearing everyone talk about the World Cup and you're thinking, okay, but what actually is it? Why does everyone lose their minds over this? And should I care? Then this video is made for you. By the end, you'll understand exactly what the World Cup is, how it works, why it matters, and you'll be ready to watch every single match this summer and actually know what you're looking at. Let's get into it. Alright, so, at its most basic level, the FIFA World Cup is the biggest international football tournament on the planet. And when I say football, I mean what most of the world calls football. Americans call it soccer. Same sport, 22 players, 1 ball, 2 goals, you can't use your hands. We'll just call it football for this video, since that's what the rest of the world uses. Now, FIFA stands for Fédération Internationale de Football Association. It's basically the global governing body of the sport. Think of them like the NFL, but for the entire planet. FIFA organizes the World Cup every 4 years. National teams, meaning teams made up of players who represent their country, not their club, compete against each other to win the whole thing. And I want you to understand how big a deal that is. These aren't just club teams like, say, Real Madrid or Manchester City. These are players representing their entire nation. Playing for pride. Playing for history. Playing for everyone back home watching. The first World Cup was held way back in 1930, in Uruguay. 13 teams showed up. Uruguay won it on home soil. And from that moment, it became something the world wanted more of. Fast forward to today, the 2026 World Cup is historic for a different reason. For the first time, 48 countries are competing. That's up from 32 teams in 2022. More countries, more matches, more drama. Show graphic, 1930 Uruguay, 2022 Qatar, 32 teams, 2026 USA/Canada, Mexico, 48 teams. Keep it clean and simple. And it's being hosted across 3 countries, the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Which makes it the first World Cup ever to span 3 nations. Matches will be played in cities like Los Angeles, New York, Miami, Dallas, Atlanta, and more. The final, the championship match, will be played on July 19 at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, right outside New York City. So yeah. This is a big deal. Now let's talk about how it actually works. The 2026 World Cup has 48 teams. To figure out who wins the whole thing, the tournament is split into 2 main phases, the group stage and the knockout stage. In the group stage, all 48 teams are divided into 12 groups of 4 teams each. Every team in a group plays the other 3 teams in that group, 1 match against each. So every team plays exactly 3 matches. You get 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, that's a tie, and 0 points for a loss. The teams with the most points at the end of the group stage stay in the tournament. The rest go home. How many teams advance? The top 2 from each group, that's 24 teams, plus the 8 best third-place finishers across all the groups. So 32 teams total move on to the knockout stage. Now, you might be wondering, what happens if 2 teams are level on points? This is where it gets fun. They look at goal difference first, meaning how many goals you've scored minus how many you've let in. The team with the better goal difference moves up. If that's still a tie, they look at goals scored. And if it's still tied? Some tournaments use a coin flip at this stage. Yes, really. Phase 2, the knockout stage. Once the group stage is done, the real drama begins. The knockout stage is simple and brutal. You lose, you go home. It's a single elimination bracket, just like March Madness if you're familiar with that. In 2026, the knockout stage starts with the round of 32 teams, 16 matches. Then the round of 16. Then the quarterfinals, 8 teams, 4 matches. Then the semifinals, 4 teams, 2 matches. And finally, the final. Plus there's a third-place match, where the 2 losing semi-finalists play for bronze. It's emotional. These teams are 1 win away from the final and they didn't make it. But they still get to play one last match on the biggest stage. The whole knockout stage runs from June 27th all the way to July 19th, nearly a month of high-stakes, sudden-death football. And if a knockout match ends level after 90 minutes? It goes to 30 minutes of extra time. And if it's still level after that? We get to the most nerve-wracking thing in all of sport. Penalty kicks. 5 players from each team take turns stepping up to a spot 12 yards from goal. Just them and the keeper. Half the stadium holding its breath. It is absolutely agonizing to watch. And we love it. Okay. 48 teams is a lot. You do not need to follow all of them. But there are a handful you'll want to keep your eye on, and knowing their stories makes watching so much more fun. USA, the home team. Let's start with the obvious one, the United States. The US automatically qualified as one of the host nations. Their squad is young, energetic, and genuinely exciting. They play their first match on June 12 against Paraguay, right here at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Historically, the USA hasn't been a powerhouse in football. Their best result was actually way back in 1930, when they finished third. But this generation of players is different. They're hungrier. They play in the biggest leagues in Europe, and playing at home, in front of a home crowd? That changes everything. Brazil, the most decorated nation. Brazil is football. There is no other way to put it. 5 World Cup titles, more than any other country in history. They are always a threat, always exciting to watch, and every 4 years the whole world wonders if this is their year. They open their tournament on June 13 against Morocco, in New York. That's a match you want to watch. Argentina, the defending champions. Argentina won the last World Cup in 2022 in Qatar. An iconic, emotional final. They are the defending champions, which makes them one of the first teams every other country wants to knock out. Defending a World Cup title is notoriously hard, only Brazil has ever done it, back in 1958 and 1962. Argentina will try to make history. Germany, the machine. Germany is relentless. For World Cup titles, consistently in the tournament, and a team that's built around system and precision. They may not always be the most exciting to watch, but they are almost never out of a game. France, the squad depth. France might have the deepest squad in this entire tournament. They won it in 2018. They were runners-up in 2022. If any team looks like it's built to challenge for the title right now, it's France. The dark horses. And then there are the teams nobody is fully talking about yet, but should be. Morocco reached the semi-finals in 2022 and shocked the entire world. Japan has quietly become one of the most organized teams in the tournament. Portugal always brings flair and fire. And hosts Mexico, playing in their own country with their own fans? Extremely dangerous. The beauty of the World Cup is that upsets happen every single time. The best team doesn't always win. Sometimes a smaller nation knocks out a powerhouse, and half the world loses its mind. Let me give you a few moments from World Cup history, because once you know these stories, you'll understand why people are emotionally attached to this tournament the way they are. 1950, the miracle of Belo Horizonte. The United States beat England 1-0. England, the country that invented football. Nobody believed it. Nobody expected it. The headline in one British newspaper the next morning just read, "Is this a joke?" It wasn't. 1970, Brazil's perfect team. The 1970 Brazil side is widely considered the greatest football team ever assembled. Pelé, Jairzinho, Rivellino, they didn't just win, they played with a style so fluid, so beautiful, that people who watched it still talk about it today as the gold standard of what football can be. 1986, Maradona's 2 goals against England. In a single match, Diego Maradona scored what was officially called the worst goal ever scored and the greatest goal ever scored. In the same game. In the same half. The first, he punched the ball into the net with his hand. The referee didn't catch it. Maradona later described it as the hand of God. Then, 4 minutes later, he dribbled past 5 England players and the keeper across 60 yards of pitch to score one of the most breathtaking goals in the sport's history. Football is full of contradictions. That match was all of them. 2022, Morocco rewrites history. Less than 4 years ago, Morocco, an African nation, became the first team from Africa to ever reach the World Cup semi-finals. They beat Spain. They beat Portugal. They nearly had everyone. Their players celebrated with their mothers and families on the pitch after every win. The whole world was rooting for them. This is the World Cup. Every 4 years, a new story gets written. A new giant gets slayed. A new hero gets crowned. So here's the thing about 2026 specifically. The United States hasn't hosted a World Cup since 1994. That was 32 years ago. The 1994 World Cup actually broke attendance records that still stand today. Americans came out. Millions of them. Even people who had never watched football before showed up because the energy was impossible to resist. And that's about to happen again, but bigger. 48 teams instead of 24. 104 matches instead of 52. Games in 16 cities across 3 countries. For Americans, this is a rare moment. The world's biggest sporting event is coming to your backyard. You don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. to watch it. You can drive to a stadium. You can buy a ticket. You can be in the crowd. And football is more popular in the US now than it's ever been. MLS attendance is up. Youth participation is the highest in the country for any sport. Americans who grew up playing it are now adults who want to watch it at the highest level. This World Cup might be the moment that cements football as a mainstream sport in the United States, and you get to watch it happen live. All 104 matches are being broadcast in the US on Fox and FS1. You can also stream every single game on the Fox Sports app or Fox One. No extra subscription needed beyond what you likely already have. The group stage runs from June 11th through June 26th. There are multiple games every single day during this period, sometimes 4 or 5 matches in one day. If you're just starting out, here's my honest advice on how to enjoy it as a first-timer. 1. Pick a team to root for. It can be the USA. It can be a country your family is from. It can literally be whichever kit you think looks coolest. Having a team makes every match more personal. 2. Don't worry about understanding every rule on day 1. The core of it is simple: kick the ball into the other team's goal. Everything else, offsides, fouls, VAR, you'll pick up naturally just by watching. 3. Watch with other people if you can. Football is a social sport. The joy of watching with someone who knows more than you, or less than you, makes it exponentially better. And 4, if the USA gets knocked out, don't stop watching. Because whatever happens after that, the World Cup gets even more dramatic the deeper it goes. Here's what I want to leave you with. The World Cup isn't just a sports tournament. It's the one moment every 4 years where the entire planet watches the same thing, feels the same things, at the same time. Where a tiny nation can beat a football superpower and the whole world goes wild. Where players cry in joy or heartbreak and you cry with them, even if you've never met them, never been to their country, don't speak their language. Sport has this rare power to make us feel connected to each other. And the World Cup is that power turned up to its absolute maximum. From June 11th to July 19th, it's happening right here. In our cities. On our soil. The world is coming to us. Are you going to be watching? If you found this useful, subscribe. We're going to be dropping videos throughout the entire tournament to help you follow along, understand the biggest moments, and never feel lost watching football again.